Hello and a very warm welcome to what promises to be an interesting evening ahead. Before I introduce the guest of honor, the star of the show as they say, I'm reminded of Sahir Ludhianvi's couplet. क्यों देखे हम दुनिया को दूसरों से नजरिए से क्यों देखे हम दुनिया को दूसरे के नजरिए से ले दे के एक नजर ही तो है हमारे पास. What it means is that when you have a perspective of your own, when you do something that touches the heart, or when you express something that is so entirely your own or individualistic, then the words transcend geographies, transcend religions, and transcend a lot of cultures. And it is in this context that I wish to introduce a friend for exactly 20 days now, Asha Iyer Kumar. But during the course of these conversations, I almost have begun to believe that there's been a past life connection with her. So without much further ado, can I invite Asha Iyer Kumar on screen, please?
Hello.
Hey,
Good
Asha.
evening to everyone. Hello, Mohan. Good
How
evening
are
to
you?
everyone. I'm very, very good. Thank you very much for having me here today.
My pleasure. Looking radiant on a Sunday evening.
Thank you very much. I'm in the midst of very radiant people, so I need to reflect them right.
Correct. So let me tell you a little secret about mine. I mean, I've always been fascinated with people who can express themselves in a manner that is so unique. And blessed are those who can speak well and write well also. In fact, it's an either or, it's a mutually exclusive club. But you belong to the latter category, don't you?
I take it as a compliment, Mohan,
course.
and I don't know what I would say next. If that's how I'm viewed, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to all the people who made this happen, because I believe that I'm in the midst of people today who have my back, the people who carry me all along in my journey, and you're the ones who make it happen. So thank you very much for being here on this momentous occasion in my life. Thank you all for coming.
Of course it is. I mean, your journey reminds me of the woodpecker story. Keep chipping away at the woods and you will find a burrow somewhere. Isn't that true?
Absolutely. And I think, I have proven it to myself than to others. The first thing we have to do is to prove it to oneself and then tell others that I have been through it. So look, you can do it too. So I think there is no better way to prove things than to do it yourself, So yes, thank you.
So जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं शुरुआत से शुरू करते हैं. So tell us something about your childhood. What was it like?
Oh, that's so far away for me to think from so far ago, so that I can only remember snatches of it. I was raised in a small town called Palakkad in Kerala, and the first 5 years of my life I spent in Kota in Rajasthan, after which my father got a transfer to Palakkad. Although we belonged to Kerala, we were in Rajasthan for a while, and I don't remember much from my childhood. I don't know what it is all about, because we have too many things now in our memories stacked up over the years, that I have only a few things to remember. But one thing that I must mention to you all, and one thing that stands out, is that when we shifted to Palakkad from Kota, and I was in the kindergarten at that time, my parents made it a point to put me in an English medium school. There were only two English medium schools in the town at that time. And I can't thank them enough for doing that. I'm not sure how much of that helped me, get proficiency in the language or the way I handle it today. But I'm sure that it set the tone for whatever I might do in the future. And I'm immensely grateful to my dad and my mom for doing this, among the many, many other things that they have done to shape the person that I am today. So that's one thing that I can never forget. Going to the school, to an English medium school on the first day. I remember the first day so very well, and then from there I grew up, and it has been a very modest kind of life, because it's a small town, and I don't know if I would have, life would have panned out any different if I were, a city-born girl, or if I were brought up in a different country. I can't say that. But for whatever my childhood has been, I have come a long way, and I'm immensely happy for that.
it is a little bit of a strange thing that you say that you remember only snatches or snippets of your childhood, whereas there is a constant recurrence of a father figure in your writings, which only means that you embodify the saying that a father is the girl's first superhero. So he must have been quite an influence on your entire life.
He has been, he still is. It's 5 years since I lost him, but he still continues to lead us. And he, for every little thing that I think of, every little memory of mine is of my dad. And I always say, even when I teach my students, I tell them, my dad says, every lesson that I've learned, the smallest, from smallest to the biggest, every life lesson probably has come from him. And the phrase "my dad says" is a constant in my life. Yes, so that's something that I can never give up. And I'm sure, as you say, for every little girl, daddy figure is the greatest of all.
So tell me something. It's actually an interesting journey. There is this little girl who's all of 5 years from Kota, which is as far removed from Kolangod or Calicut as it were. And you are here in Palakkad. You are in one of the schools, the two English schools that reside in Palakkad. You were admitted there. And then there is a certain standardization, if I may say, of people who have to take up certain professions. So at what age did you actually believe that this was your calling? Writing is what comes to you naturally and best.
I think I wrote my first poem at the age of 12, but at that time it was just one of those things that you do when you're in school for the school magazine and stuff like that. But then a few people took note of it, and then they said that, you probably do a good job. But I can't say that was one time. And children these days recognize their talents much earlier, much faster than what we used to do then. But then at 12, I wrote my first poem, and then I started just dabbling around with this kind of thing. And then college and school magazines were my, main real estate for writing. So those were the places that I could probably shine a bit over others, if I could say that. And then at some point in time, someone suggested randomly that you could do journalism, and I had no clue what journalism was all about at that time. And that kind of stuck to me, and I said, okay, if I might be good at journalism because of what I write, because of how I write, I would rather do it. And that was the time when NDTV had, also come in a big way into our lives. And then I thought, okay, doing journalism is a big thing. And I did my journalism. And once I did journalism, I knew that wasn't my cup of tea at all. And I wanted to get out of it. And for a while, I didn't know what I was doing. And I think just writing happened. As I always tell people, I didn't discover writing. Writing discovered me in some point in time. I think that's how it happens to most authors and writers.
In fact, you mentioned a very strange thing that children discover their passion very early in life these days. To that, I have something to tell. In fact, parents vicariously thrust their interest on children. It is almost they're leading a double life. So how was it in your household? Your parents were supportive towards these kind of sojourns that you had in respect of journalism?
Absolutely. Although, we come from a conservative Brahmin family, my parents had absolutely no qualms about whatever we wanted to do in our lives, and we were given complete liberty to choose the profession we wanted, to choose the person we wanted to marry probably later on. And we were given complete freedom to pursue whatever we wanted to do. And probably that, that has contributed a lot to the individual that have grown into. And there was absolutely no restriction of any kind, no limitation set on us, no fetters at all.
Awesome. So when did you shift to Dubai? And I think, and I'm telling you in advance that this is a loaded question, because Dubai features very prominently in your entire scheme of things. So when did the shift to Dubai happen?
I moved to the Middle East in 1998, soon after my marriage, and that was in Muscat. We moved to Muscat first, and then it has been a shuttle between Oman and UAE. Like it always happens to people who are here, they would know much better. Like, life isn't a constant at all. And it's dynamic. You never know what you're going to do the next day. That's how things are here. But then we live here as if we are going to be here forever. It's such a metaphor for life itself. Always feel that life in the Middle East is a metaphor for life itself, because we live as if, we're going to be here forever, but then you know that you're going to kick the bucket any day, any moment. That's how it has been. So between Oman and UAE, it has been, let's say, from 98. So how long?
Wow, that's like 23 years.
23
I mean,
years.
you can almost claim that the city sprung up in front of you.
Yes, I see it happening every single day, every moment. It is growing, it is expanding like there's no tomorrow.
And now let's come to the main topic of the day. You are here in the Middle East in 98, and in 2008, you published your first book. So 2009, I'm sorry. So which is a kind of an ode to all those people with dreams in the Middle East. What took you so long to put pen to paper?
I had started writing actually my first book. It's a novel. It's a magnum opus. I call it my magnum opus because it's a very, very huge one, a 450 to 500 page book. And I had to live through the book, live through the characters. And for a first time debutant to write a novel in those days, especially,
Right.
and I had no clue how these things worked out. All I knew was that I wanted to write a story about people who lived here, people who worked here, people who left their families back there. And, this was like, an exposure to an entirely new world to me, for someone who has entirely been brought up in South India and who has seen people who used to come on their vacations for a month and two, and then we used to have our own people who would come once in 2 years, bring us those little goodies, for whom we used to wait for. So those things have always been at the back of my mind, and I was looking at the other side. I was on this side of the ocean, of the Arabian Sea. And when I got to see that, I wanted to write a story about them, and that's how I started. But then there were a lot of things, there were a lot of hurdles, and I just couldn't continue writing at the pace that I wanted to. And it took a long time for me to complete. It took 4 years for me to complete the book, and I still regard it as one of my best pieces of work. And I am planning to relaunch the book very soon, maybe in a year's time or so that you all get to read that book. So it took a long time for me to actually write that story, know for myself what I wanted to write about these people. I didn't want to stereotype them. Do you understand? It's very easy for us to stereotype people in the Gulf, or in the Gulfi, as I call them. So which is what I didn't want to do. And and then to publish it in those days, it was a Herculean task, and it took a long time for me. It took a long time for me to convert it into a book.
Since I hail from the film industry, I can tell you, so Mughal-e-Azam took 10 years to make. Pakiza took 13 years to make. So yours is a magnum opus if it took 4 years to get it down to the publisher's note.
Yes, I guess so, yes.
So tell me something. We move on to the second one, which is Hymns from the Heart. And I'm of the firm belief that once you turn prosaic, then the kind of poetry that is very evident in that book is not easy. I mean, you almost have to steel yourself, have an alter ego to get into that kind of mode.
Hymns from the Heart was something that happened. I don't know. I used to like poetry, but I had stopped writing poetry for whatever reason. You can never explain these kind of things. Creative things just happen, and they just stop happening too. So you just don't explain those things, right? So I think around 2013 or 13, around 12 or 13, I just started writing poetry once again. And I thought, gosh, this has been here, lying dormant for so long. And I probably need to give expression to all those thoughts that I had. And it just happened. Mohan, let me tell you one thing. It's very difficult for anybody, any creative person, to explain what makes them creative, or, you never know how it happens. It just happens, and then once it happens, you also disown it in a way that, you haven't done it. And that's where the entire satisfaction or gratification of having done that comes from. So even Hymns from the Heart was like, I was continuing to write poems. I had 200 poems, 300 poems. I was filling up my word file with poems, and at one point I felt that, okay, let me put a few of them together and then make it a book, so that, people were loving it. When I posted them on Facebook and other stuff, people were loving it. I said, okay, why not give it to them in the form of a book? And that's how Hymns from the Heart came about.
And then your next book delves deep into the various relationship tangles that one can get into with a lot of unspoken stuff and silences. How did that come about?
You mean Let It Be Love?
Correct.
Actually, Let It Be Love was a part of another collection that I wanted to come out with. But then, at that point, I think something didn't really click. And then, I just came out with an ebook just to test out, because I was being constantly told that short stories don't sell. People don't read short stories.
Oh.
So I was going through that phase where I was full of self-doubt. And I love writing short stories more than anything else, because, they are, I can present life in sachets. That's how I call them, life in, experiences in small sachets, sized packets. Right. So I love short stories. And when I was repeatedly told that, short stories won't sell, I just wanted to test the waters, and which is when I thought, okay, an ebook might serve that purpose. So let me come out with an ebook and see how people respond to it. And the response was immense. I mean, it was so encouraging that I thought that, I shouldn't be listening to what people tell, people are talking about me around. I know what I'm good at. I know what I want to do. So let me just go out there and get it done. As simple as that. So that one book was a part of an experimentation that really worked. And I think, it was something that was worth taking the risk.
Super. And then you write After the Rain, which is all about unrequited love at some levels, with Dubai being a silent character as a motive. Take us through that.
So, as I was telling you, even the previous book, the stories.
15 से 15 to 15
Can we have you on mute, please? Saroja Srinivasan.
अभी तो तुम इस मंथ का तो ऐसे ही रहो, तुम पैसा देना नहीं पड़ेगा, इसलिए कहो अगले महीने से तुम्हारे ऊपर शिफ्ट करा देंगे, अभी तुमको ऐसे ही रहना पड़ेगा। अभी सब गेस्ट आ रहे हैं, कमरा जरूर पड़ेगी ना मेरे को।
Can we have
दो थोड़ी करने पड़ेगा।
Can we mute them, please?
तुम अगले महीने से करते तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं।
When is it possible for us to mute them?
I don't know. There's a.
नहीं, उन्होंने कहा तुम अगले महीने से रहते हैं, तो रहना है तो ऐसे ही रहो।
There's 1, 2, 3. I don't know who that is. Just a second.
Yes. Hello.
The host. Okay.
The host can mute all.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So the After the Rain is again a collection of stories, which the previous one was a part of After the Rain, actually. So I just gleaned out 3 stories from After the Rain collection as an experiment, and then when I saw that really clicked, I came out with After the Rain. And I'm sorry, I forgot what your question was. I got a little distracted.
Dubai being a silent metaphor and a motive, take us through that, and because it was unrequited love at some levels.
Yes. I don't know. I think, what happened was there were 2 places that have impacted me very much. One is, 3, let us say. One is Kerala, of course, and the second was Bombay. I spent 2-3 years in Bombay, and those.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes, I have. 96, 97 till the time I got married. And Bombay, Kerala, and the Middle East. These 3 places, that I have spent time. Bombay, within 2 years, it has impacted me so much. It taught me life like no other thing has ever done.
It still does.
Yes, it does. And then when I came here, somehow this place, I adored this place so much as my own, and I saw that, there's so much of me in this place, and there's so much of this place in me. I don't know what it is about Dubai that really makes me tick, but I saw that, the people here I don't know, there was so much of, it's very difficult for me to explain why Dubai is so much a motive in my stories. But I think, I have come to understand this place a lot more And having been here for so long, it's only natural that I would set most of my stories here, and the sitting in the background is so easy for me to connect.
Absolutely. With, right? I mean, you can almost be a guide to the entire travelogues that Dubai might hold.
Yes. The pathos and the ethos of the place, they just get to you. They get into your bones, and then that's what comes out as stories many times.
You'll have to excuse me just for a second. Just a second.
Yes.
Back.
Yes.
So now we move on to the next, which is actually a collection of articles that you have written for Khalij Times. It's actually a poignant take on everything connected to life. So when did you start this series, and what prompted you to culminate these in a book?
I started writing for Khalij Times in 2010. And I don't know if Mr. Patrick Michael is here. He was supposed to be here, but I don't know. Mr. Patrick Michael, who was the executive editor at that time, he had so much faith in my writing, Mohan, I can't tell you.
Wow.
He's the person who can give me a leg up at that time. And I instantly, almost overnight, I became a columnist for Khalij Times. And I saw that my writings, my columns struck a chord with the readers, so slowly, it was very, very slow. It took a long time for me to really get in there and then to establish myself as a columnist. But the way I did it, I knew that, I was here, to stay. And so over a period of time, I was writing every week. I was a weekly columnist, and I was writing every week. And I must give credit to a student of mine, Vaishnav Nair, who's now at the University of Hong Kong. He's a final year student there. One day he just suggested to me, he said, "Man, you have written so many articles and they're all scattered." And I thought, yeah, they're all scattered everywhere. Why don't you put them together in a book? A suggestion to come from a young man like him. And I said, yes, that's a great idea to, do. And then, okay, I gave it a thought. And then I curated my own, set of articles from them. And all the articles were based on life, as you said, poignant takes on life. And I felt that there's no better way to give it back to the people who have been supporting me all these years in this place, reading my column week after week, and supporting me and giving me all the compliments that it deserved, probably. And then I said, okay, this has to be a book that people could just open anywhere and find an article to read in 3 minutes, and they take away something. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And I had all the wherewithal with me there over the years that I had written. So I just put them together and made a book out of it.
What struck me the most was when you're writing an article, there is a certain grammar attached to it. There is a certain number of limitation of words that you have in an article, 300 words, 400 words. But the context and the stories are also situational. The article flows when you read certain things, when you observe certain things. But even after 6 years, I picked up concepts of old age homes or women's safety. They don't feel dated at all. They almost feel as if it's still relevant. It's still happening in front of my eyes. So kudos to you for doing that. I mean, the kind of timelessness, if I may add, about the articles is what strikes me the most.
No, actually, Mohan, life is timeless, right?
Right, it is.
Right. So it's just that we give context to life, and then we create capsules, time capsules, and then we call it the past, the present, and the future. But I feel, it's like, they say, men may come and men may go, but I go on forever, right? So that's how it is. So I think, life situations, if you view them, if you observe them closely, and if you can connect with it, they are relevant at all times. It's just us. We give it a certain context and we limit it, and if we can afford it, life would rather go on limitlessly, boundlessly. That's how I look at life.
Super. So here I would like to mention a certain Mr. Patrick, whom you would know very well. He has written, "Patrick is listening, though he can't be seen. Thank you for the mention, and you deserve all the success." So Mr. Patrick, your message has been conveyed to Ms. Asha Iyer Kumar. let me tell you that she was a bundle of nerves. So I am the guy who's collating all these compliments for her. So that is the first compliment of the day for you, Asha.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick. But for you, I doubt if I would have been here at all. I mean, you need people who take you through, right? When you are struggling, when you are in deep in self-doubt, you need somebody who would tell you that you come on, you can do it. And you know, that one leg up is all that you need to get up, walk, and then later soar. So thank you very much, Mr. Patrick Michael. I'm indebted to you for life.
And now we turn our attention to the topic of the day, the reason why we are here, the reason why we want to promote this, the next magnum opus, as I would call it, A Pain in the Womb. So tell me the genesis. What prompted you to start writing this, and how did this entire thing come about?
To be honest, short stories are never written in one sitting, or short stories are never planned. You know, I write stories whenever they occur to me. I have an idea, I have a theme, and often inspired by someone that I know, someone that I've seen, something that I've, you know, it's always like, you know, a keen observer is never, you know, short of any ideas or inspiration to write. So I keep writing my stories, and then, you know, I had 10 or 12 of them with me, and then I said, what am I going to do about it? And all the short, little stories and the snippets that I used to write, and then I used to give out to people to read on the social media, they were all, you know, garnering a lot of compliments, and let me see, you know, people were liking it, and I saw that, you know, people were connecting with it, and I thought, okay, so I have a set of stories here, and I think, you know, I'm obliged to give them more, you know, by way of a book. Because what happens is when you write on the social media, it's either called a post or it is called a blog. It's never considered serious literature. Right. So for a piece of writing to become a serious literature, it has to be published in a book, so that people take note of it. People at least give it some kind of, you know, serious thought of reading it. So I didn't want to become a complete blogger. You know, it was I thought that, you know, if I don't keep writing serious stuff, then I would soon become a blogger, and I would be called a blogger, which was not what I had started off with, right? So these stories were all written, you know, over a period of time. And why that pain in the womb? I'm sure that question is there on your mind too. Yes. Why that pain in the mind? Is the theme planned? No, the theme was not planned. And this is what I call happenstance, serendipity, you call it whatever, you know, that you have a collection of stories in your hand, and then you go through it and you read them, you just pick up that thread, you know, that common thread in all the stories, and see that, wow, this could go together in a book, and between the covers it may all gel well. It just happened, you know. I just don't know. The muse sometimes makes things work in a way that you never can imagine, and I'm grateful to all the powers that be above me that makes it happen for me.
So before we go on to the next question, I would want to give you the second compliment of the day. Ms. Bhavna Kaushik writes, I have read your blogs on other platforms too. You're an amazing writer. Love the imagery and the interplay of emotions in your stories that you present in a subtle way, connecting lives and everyday mundane activities, raising pertinent issues and conundrums of life. Nice to see you live. Lovely insights into your life and work. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Bhavna. Bhavna herself is a very good writer, and thank you very much for the compliments, and good luck to you too, Bhavna.
Okay. Now, the title, A Pain in the Womb, suggests a certain melancholy. Is that a deliberate attempt? Or you mentioned about the thread of stories, but given the life stage that you are, or given the kind of popularity that you are in the midst of, or what you would want to attain, A Pain in the Womb suggests a certain serious imagery of a writer, which I know for sure, after having read all your 5 books in the course of 10 days, you definitely are not. You have a dry, laconic sense of humor. So why would you want to name that?
As I said, the stories, okay, the theme of the stories are good, you know, it's like the equation between parents and children, you know, it's very, let me just look at, you know, how do I say this? I'm not a parent myself. I'm not a mother myself. But that doesn't mean that I don't know what motherhood feels like.
Correct.
I have been coaching, I've been mentoring children for nearly 20 years now. And all those children have been my children, and I view them as my own. And knowing so many children, I know what it feels like to be a mother. Okay. So it's kind of, a paradox that someone who's not a mother writes a story or a book which is titled That Pain in the Womb, because that pain and of motherhood or of fatherhood, let's not connect womb only with mothers, which we tend to do very often, of parenting. The pains of parenting is something that every human being can go through, because we are constantly creating something. And we are parents to the things that we create.
Right.
So even if it is Mother Earth, for example, there's a story there where the mother is Mother Earth, and her relationship with us, human beings, we are her children. And how do we deal with our issues that we have with our Mother Earth? So there are, and relationships, let me tell you, the child-parent relationships are very dynamic.
Correct.
No matter how hard we try, it's hard to snap out of it. Marital relations with your spouse, with your partners, beyond a point, we just call it quits and walk away. But you can't do that sort of a thing with your children or with your parents, And what happens is that when you stretch it so thin, you reach a threshold point, okay, in your relationship, where you are faced with moral dilemmas. You have moral questions and you don't know which way to swing. The pendulum swings either way. And that threshold, that moral dilemma is probably what translated into the melancholy that you're probably talking about. It's not easy at all. We have our moments of joy, we have our moments of utter despair. There's hope, there is angst, there's everything that goes on between a parent and a child. So that theme is what I have explored in all these stories, and it's very relevant if you look at it, taken from different angles, how parents deal with children or children deal with parents. And when I say children and parents, it's not like how me and my son or anything. It's something that you will have to read and figure out.
Awesome. So let me read out the third and the fourth compliment of the day. Ravi and Uma write, "You are the only writer in a huge family of over 200 cousins and nephews. Proud, Ravi, Anna, and Uma." And then there's Miss Vinita Mukund who writes, "Asha, I knew you would be a writer or a poet when you wrote a small poem about me in our 10th standard autograph. I told you then, and now really proud of you and the heights you have reached. Congrats, girl." So that's the way to go.
Thank you very much, Vinita. I don't even remember what I must have written at that point in time that made you trust my capabilities so much, but I'm really, really glad that you remember it, and I've not let you down, that I have really followed through and lived up to your expectations. Thank you very much.
Here's a small request to all the 100 participants who have joined. Asha, you're a bona fide celebrity. I knew you as a friend for the last 20 days. You have attracted a crowd of 100 people on a Sunday evening, so good on you. So all those 100 participants who are here, you can please ask your questions in the chat box that is on to the right, and we shall be taking the 3 best questions, and the goodies are there to be followed. And we are constantly scrutinizing your questions. We are sending your compliments to Miss Asha Iyer Kumar. So a little bit about a pain in the womb. So at what point, a writer rarely is satisfied, and I'm sure it happens to you most of the times, that when you look back at your book of 2008, there must be certain things that are cringeworthy at this point in time after 13 years. I could have perfected this a little bit more. I could have done this a bit better. So at what point does a writer say, stop, this is what I can do best at this point in time?
I don't think a writer can ever say that. No. We're constantly evolving, aren't we? As human beings, as creators, as artists, we are constantly evolving. The day I say I'm done and this is it, I stop evolving, I stop growing. And as the tagline of all my articles and of my posts read, keep growing and keep glowing. We need to keep growing. The moment you accept that you have stopped growing, then you become stunted. And I don't think even today I have I have attained it all, or I have become the best writer around. Yes, I do write well, as people say, but I still do feel that there is a long way for me to go and to improve myself. In what way? I have no clue. Where will this take me? I have no clue. And what can I add to my own qualifications as a writer? I have no clue. But I know this is not it. I have miles to go before I sleep, before I put my pen down.
So in the course of our friendly banter, I should say, in the WhatsApp group, I've always been intrigued by the kind of, I would call it social service measures, or the kind of steps that you take. Make sure that the world is full of good writers, good thinkers. So tell us something about that journey. When did you undertake?
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry. I couldn't get your question.
No problem. I'll repeat that. In the last 20 days, I've been intrigued and surprised at the kind of efforts that you take to make sure that the world is full of good thinkers and good writers per se. So when did this journey start? When did you start training future writers so that we have lots of work to read from?
Okay, let me look at it this way. It's not about wanting to train people to become better writers. My idea is to make people use writing as a means or a method to know themselves and to become better versions of themselves, which is why I call myself a life writing coach. What I teach my students, yes, although my students come to me because they want to get better grades in school, which is something that I definitely help them with, but then I also make sure that through their writing, through the way they express themselves, they get to know themselves. They introspect, they reflect, and they know what life is all about. So that as they grow up, when they grow up, they are better equipped to handle challenges. They are better equipped to handle situations, and they don't crumble like cookies. So, which is very important to me, because I see that at this age, we are unable to handle and we are unable to come to terms with a lot of things around us. And we understand that it is only because we have not groomed ourselves very well in terms of how to, look at life, how to understand life. So when I teach them to writing, let me tell you, writing is the best way for us to take a journey inward, know ourselves, and then to reflect it outward. So that is what I teach. So when I teach people to write, I tell them, write not because you have to be tomorrow's Booker winner, write because you have to be a better person tomorrow, who will be at ease with yourself, who will be at peace with yourself, which is what I teach them.
Awesome. So here are more compliments flowing in. Sindhu Balagopal writes, Asha dear, wishing you so much success on this big day of book launch. I'm sure that more and more people will read this collection of humane stories, all of which can link to our lives. It's a moment of great pride and excitement as your classmate and friend in school. All of us at school were sure of your success like this. Congratulations and all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sindhu. Thank you for being always there with me. Yes.
There's Mr. Parmesh Nair who writes, my hearty congrats, Asha. You're an extraordinarily talented writer. Though I haven't been able to read much of your work, even a couple of stories that I've been able to read gave me a flavor of a natural, easy, fluid style you're gifted with. Wish all success to the present book. And Ben Thomas writes, hi Asha, single-handedly you could bring about 110 people to this live program. I salute you for that one as well. This shows how much you're liked by your readers. As a person who has attended numerous live programs, I can vouch that this is a big, big success. Congratulations and best wishes. Keep writing.
Thank you very much. And thank you.
Okay, here's for the first question of the day by Mr. PG Bhaskar. Asha, does the potential difficulty of publishing keep you away from writing, or is there no connect between the two? In other words, do you write for yourself or for your readers? I think that's a brilliant question.
Yes. Thank you very much. And at this point, I must mention that Mr. PG Bhaskar himself is a published author and a very good one at that. He has been a best-selling author, if you didn't know. I owe that to him, being his friend and being a fan of his. He was my fellow columnist in Khaleej Times when Mr. Patrick Michael was there. So Bhaskar, for you to ask that question to me is a little tricky, but I'm going to answer as best as I can. Do I write for myself or for my readers? there was a time when I said I used to write for myself. I don't know if that would sound a little vain, but that's how people say I write for myself, only because of the troubles and of the challenges that we face in the field of publishing. It's not easy to get published, like anyone who has tried would know. And but now I write for my readers, and reaching out to the readers is important for me, because my readers like what I'm writing. They feel a connect with it. They feel that their lives are touched. And when I see that something that I do, my work touches people's lives, then I feel I have an obligation to do more of it. So if I say that I'm writing it for myself, I don't think I would be honest. I write for my readers, but without selling my soul. And what was the first part of this question? I forgot.
Is there no connect?
Yes. Yeah, the difficulties of publishing. The difficulties of publishing, who would know? Who would know it better than I do? There's always a way out. I found my own way out. I decided I wanted to write and I wanted to get published. And what I did was I just wrote. I wrote every single day. I wrote because that was my passion, and I wanted to reach out. And how this would get carried to the people, how this would get transported to the people out there. I had a certain faith in the universe. I always have faith in the universe, and I feel that, if something needs to be done, it will be done by the universe, by its own merit and not by my merit. So I kept writing, Bhaskar, and I'm a self-published author. Even today, I'm a self-published author, and I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed to call myself a self-published author. On the other hand, I'm very proud to say that I've come this far because I had the freedom to publish.
Nice.
Because I wanted to write, because I wanted to reach out to you people, because I wanted to bring things to you on a platter. So I did that.
So in a nutshell, you almost answered Mr. Preetish's question. When you started writing, was your purpose to connect with the readers and have a huge part in changing their lives? And I can vouch for that, because let me tell you, though I can claim to be a voracious reader, but there were certain ooh and ah moments where I thought, let me keep the book down and then let me ponder over what you have written. So there was a certain sense of a timelessness in your writing. So was that a conscious effort, or is that the person that you are?
No, I don't think if I there is this, can I quickly tell you an anecdote or a little story, So if I were to be conscious about it, what happens is what I want to tell you. Okay, there's the story of this centipede, okay, the centipede that has 100 legs to walk around. So the frog comes up and then asks the centipede, look, I have 4 legs and I find it so difficult to hop around. How do you manage to walk with your 100 legs? And the centipede takes a moment to pause and think, oh yes, I never thought about it. How do I ever do this? So the frog asks, do you put your first foot, forward, and then the second, and then how do you go about doing it? And then the first, second foot, third foot, 50th foot, which one am I putting up? And the centipede starts moving. So this one story will remain with me to remind me that, do what comes to you naturally and you're going to reach where you have to reach.
Okay. So here's the thing that I want to connect with the film industry, since I'm surrounded with technicians and actors and all those people. There is a certain bit of yourself that you give to the craft. You almost become another person. So does that happen to you as well? You are a sum total of all the characters that you have made over the course of the 5 books?
Yes, absolutely. Without a shadow of doubt. I mean, because we are a bit of all our characters. Our characters are a bit of what we are. I'm sure every person out there who is into writing, who creates characters, who makes movies, we would all connect, because unless we see ourselves, it's like being in the Sheesh Mahal, right? You go and stand there in the Sheesh Mahal, what you see is a reflection of yourself all around you. And what is on those bits of glasses there, on mirrors there, is yourself. Correct. So I have no clue, because this might sound a little metaphysical to you, but I believe that what I am here, on a larger canvas is what you are there too. And we connect at different levels, and that makes us one. And our journey, our experiences are all common. And there are a lot of things that we give and take in this long journey of life. So I think, yes, I do see them in me, and I do see me in them too.
So I'm going to take the last question of the day from Mr. PG Bhaskar again. Have you ever visualized a reader? If so, is that person male or female, closer to 20 or 50?
Have you ever visualized a reader? Oh, yes, of course. Trust Mr. Bhaskar to ask questions. He is a great hand at humor. You can't challenge his humor skills. Have I ever?
So I want you to hold that thought, because I'm going to invite the next star of the show. And that is a person who I would call her a mother figure for a person like me. In this entirely mesmerizing world of Bollywood, as it is called, she was the one who held my hand and literally walked me through the entire glittering of the stars, as it were. And just for the takeaway, Bhawana Somaaya ji has been a film critic for more than 40 years. She has contributed columns to various publications. She is the former editor of Screen and has authored several books on cinema. That includes biographies of Hema Malini and Amitabh Bachchan. Her books are a point of reference for students studying cinema at the Whistling Woods, Manipal University, and now JNU Delhi. She has served on the advisory panel of CBFC India, also the governing council FTI Pune. She is the chairperson of Tiger Land India Film Festival Madhya Pradesh and the entertainment editor at 92.7 Big FM radio channel. Letters to Mother, the English translation of the Prime Minister's Sakshi Bhav, was published in 2020. And she is the only closest person that I know who's been conferred with Padma Shri. So Padma Shri Bhawana ji, can we have you on screen, please?
Mohan, I can hear you, but I can't see you.
No problem. Asha, can you hear her?
Yes, I can hear. Namaste, Bhavna ji.
Namaste. So I can see both of you, but your guys have disabled my video.
No, it's you have to enable your video, ma'am.
No. So how do I do it? On the short video, I'm clicking, but nothing is happening.
Okay, no problem, no problem. We'll continue as is. Otherwise, time will be lost in the technical glitches. So, Bhavna ji, such a pleasure to have you on our show. In fact, Asha couldn't believe her luck that as eminent a personality as you would be gracing the occasion.
Absolutely, absolutely.
She doesn't have to worry because she is a very good writer herself. I have read her excerpts and I've been hearing her talk because I joined the Zoom meeting about 15 minutes earlier because I didn't want to go
you're
wrong.
On screen, ma'am. You're on screen, ma'am.
I can see both of you. She's wearing a sparkling sari. She's got a short haircut and she's speaking very passionately. And you have a professional microphone in front of you with speakers on your ears. So it's going very well. I think the video has started, or am I imagining it?
No, the video has started, but you just need to tilt it a little bit because, yeah.
You mean make it vertical?
Yeah, make it vertical, please.
Okay.
That's right. That's the Bhavna ji I know.
I would say congratulations to both of you because the conversation is of great quality. It's going very well. I don't think both of you need me. You're doing a great job.
That is just humility at its peak here. Bhavna ji, I gave you an excerpt to read out. Do you have it in front of you? Could you do the honors, please?
How do I do it? Because it's on the phone, and then if I'm doing it interview through the phone, I can't read it.
No problem. So I'll ask Asha to read the excerpt. Asha, can you do the honors?
Yes, in that case, you'll have to give me one moment to get to the right page.
Yeah. So Bhavna ji, a question that I've always been wanting to ask you for the last 11 years. Usually film critics, and more so the stature that you have gained in the industry, are not known to be very well read outside the ambit of the film gossips and the journalism. What drove you to publishing your first book?
I don't think so. I think that people view film, cinema world, and everybody associated with cinema with kind of tainted glasses.
Correct.
And though it's been so many years and cinema has evolved, and so has people associated with cinema, certain taboos and certain perceptions don't go. But what lured me into publishing was, I think, I didn't plan to be an author, like I didn't plan to be a journalist. Things just happen, and once you get into it, then you get disciplined to do a book every year.
Very
true. Very true. And I still remember your opening sentence when I asked you who was the first person you interviewed. It was Supriya Pathak on the sets of Kalyug. I can never forget that. You just said that your editor pushed you into joining any set that was within your vicinity, and you got your first interview.
Frankly, different people ask me the same question and I say different names because I cannot do an interview. So I say anything to anybody.
But it's a fact that you started in 1980, so that can't be abolished.
No, I started in 78.
78, okay. Oh, nice. And over the course of 18 books, what's the one takeaway that you always wanted your reader to get from the books that you have authored? I mean, there's so many topics that you have touched. One book that is close to my heart, and I read it almost every 6 months, is Keshava. Asha, you should read that book. It's the many forms of Krishna that Bhavana ji so adores. And there's a very funny story to how we went to Mathura. That is for a later date. But Keshava is among the best books that I've read on the Krishna anthology.
I'm listening to the podcast that she's posting on Keshava, and I'm 2 or 3 episodes down now. I'm continuing to listen to them. Yes.
Awesome.
The takeaway of every book is that I give it my best shot, and I do it sincerely, and I hope it touches somebody's heart somewhere. That's it. I have no extra expectations.
Awesome. So, Asha, can we hear you read the excerpt, please?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So this is a story titled "The River Child."
Yeah.
You were born to me and a river. Mama would say this to me every time I asked her about my father. And then she would slip into a story weaving mode all over again. She made my birth sound like a fairy tale that I listened to wide-eyed, but never with doubt. It was my truth through childhood, one that wasn't challenged until time came of age and introduced rational ideas into my maturing mind. Many times, the story became a lullaby as Mama sang slowly. I conceived you at the foothills of a mountain kingdom. It was a season of rain, with green slopes as far as eyes could see during the day. And at night, the moon shimmering all over. I conceived you by the moon river, with stars standing witness to it. What does conceive mean? I asked her one day. Conceive means, she paused at that point, bit the corner of her lip, and slowly whispered, create. The way she uttered the word create made me imagine that she and a river had sat together under a flowering tree and had sculpted me out of soft brown clay lovingly, baby part by baby part coming alive. It made me feel I was very special, unlike any other child in the neighborhood who were all born of human beings. No one had a river for a father, I gloated inwardly. And then I asked Mother the closing question. When will I see him? A faint smile dotted her angelic face. She planted a kiss on my forehead before tucking me into bed and said, when you grow up. Growing up took a long time, and somewhere along the way, the story of my birth shed its sheen. Years of listening to the same story had caused boredom to set in, and at some point, Mother too stopped talking to me about it. Even the best of fantasies can get blunted if one dwells upon it for far too long.
Wow. Thank you so much, Asha.
Thank you very much. I hope you like the excerpt. Yes. And what happens next to this story is for you to find out.
Of course, we shall. And on that note, I want Bhavana ji's blessings to announce that the launch is formally done of A Pain in the Womb. Over to you, Bhavana ji. All your words of encouragement.
The launch is finally done. And even though it would be wonderful to do it physically, I think all of us have to be content with the virtual world. And congratulations to Asha, congratulations to Mohan, congratulations to everyone who is a reader and a writer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhavana ji, for gracing the occasion. You were hard pressed for time, but just a simple request 10 days back, and you graciously agreed. Thank you so much. We shall take your leave on that note.
Thank you very much, Bhavana ji. I couldn't have asked for anything better, and no better way to get started with my book here. And I need your blessings. I need your good wishes all the time. And thank you once again for making this very special for me.
Mohan, before you all go away, I think ask your team to take a screenshot with all three of us.
Yes. So can the host team do that, please? Can you?
With all three of us.
Yes. So this is present on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So it's going across all the social media handles. And is the picture clicked, Murli?
So this is the book.
Super.
Yeah, hold it.
Done. So I'm being told formal launch. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bhavana ji. We shall continue the discussion. Thank you so much for gracing the occasion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mohan, we had some questions.
Yes, we had questions. And this is from Smita Paulos. Do you believe that a work of art is only worthy enough if it touches the reader in some way? Or do you pen it down just for the beauty of it?
Okay. Smita, thank you for this question. You know, if you a thing of beauty lasts forever, right? So if you write even for the sake of beauty, it is going to touch people's lives. Trust me, when you write from the heart, there are two things that I tell my students. I tell them there's the heart element and the brain element, okay, or the mind element. Use your heart element and you see magic happening. So Smita, it's not about just beauty or touching people. You write from your heart and it's going to touch people. Let's not, categorize things into, for the sake of beauty or not for the sake of beauty. Anything written from the heart will have a beauty of its own, and it is naturally going to touch people. That's how I look at it.
In fact, what has touched me in the last 2 minutes is how elegant was Bhavana ji in the entire exercise. I mean, yes. She was really running hard pressed for time, but just the fact that it was a pre-committed thingy, and kudos to you for bringing that out of her. Well done, Asha.
Thank you very much, Mohan. I'm blessed. I'm totally overwhelmed now by her presence and the way, you've all been here in numbers, in scores to support me and to cheer me on. Thank you very much. I couldn't have asked for more.
So here's a compliment coming your way from Miss Anita Nair. Reading Asha's latest book has been a different experience altogether. In fact, it has been a while since I relished short stories so much. Asha has done wonders, weaving the 12 stories in this collection. Each has a unique plot, and every story has a surprise element. My favorite in this collection was River Child. The innocence of the child who believed her mother's story blindly till she reached an age was very touching to me. Then her struggles to find out the truth of her birth were written with mixed emotions. All those emotions were dealt very artfully. Asha has a rare ability to create characters and get into their psyche to explain life from their angle. Congratulations, Asha, and I wish you sustained creative moments to create more work to engage your fans.
Thank you very much, Anita. Thank you.
So, how do people buy your books? It's www.ashaiyerkumar.com/books. That is a backward slash. There's an Amazon India link for paperback and Kindle. You just have to go to www.amazon.in. There's a Flipkart link for paperback. There is Amazon.ae for readers in the UAE. And I'm told that there is only hardcover and paperback in the UAE. Yes. There is a complete selection of Asha Iyer books, which is congregated all in one place. And the link is www.ashaiyerkumar.com/books. How cool is that, Asha, to have such a website, such a sustained congregation of everything that you have written all across the years? I mean, you must be feeling really proud of yourself.
I'm happy. I don't know if I'm proud of myself, but I'm happy. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to all the powers that has made it happen, and it feels good. Yes. I don't know if I should say I feel good or if I feel happy that I make you people feel good about my writing. But as for the links, I will send out the links to all of you, whoever has been on this program, and you can reach out to me to check out. It's there. Once again, let me just, for the sake of consolidation, let me tell you that, all those who are in India can find it on Amazon India. And people in Dubai and in UAE can find it on Amazon.ae. And there's all, can somebody just type in that website?
It has already been done. We are very responsive.
Thank you very much, Mohan. I trust you. I trust you very much. You and your team. You have done an exceptional job of bringing me out here and then, making a star out of me, which I never believed I was in the first instance. But it's been wonderful. Yes.
In fact, Mr. Bakshi had asked a couple of minutes back, how do I get your book? So it's www.ashaiyerkumar.com/ that's a / books. And please get all the details on Amazon.in and Amazon.ae for people residing in the Middle East. Yes. And on that note, Asha, it's been a wonderful, wonderful session. In fact, it's been a first timer for me. I have never interviewed any person, any author of any eminence. So I wish to thank you for the opportunity given. It brought out some latent English words that were in the rubble, in the recesses of my memory. Without sounding too Shashi Tharoorian, I must say that it's been a wonderful opportunity given to me.
Yes, I don't know. We don't have to be so worried about our vocabulary and the words that we speak, which is what I keep telling again my students, don't worry about how good your words are or how flowery your language is. Just speak, just write, and that which is what you have done, Mohan, and you have done it so wonderfully well. And I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful to you all once again. I mean, like, for a writer, it's very difficult for a writer to be visible unless she writes, unless she connects with her writer. It's not possible. One may say, marketing is what works. But unless you have the content, it's very difficult for you to market a bad product. And I will always strive. It's my promise to all of you there who have, congregated to cheer me on, that I promise to give you the best of contents that I can in the times that will come. And thank you very much, Mohan, once again for having me, and to you all for making this occasion so very special for me. So I look forward to you all to get the book, buy the book and read them, and let me know how you love the stories, so that I'm inspired to write more for you.
In fact, I should tell you about the fastest sale done. Mrs. Sukhwinder Bakshi writes, I found it on Amazon. I have already ordered the books. So that's as fast as virtual world can be. So Mrs. Bakshi, I hope you enjoy reading the books as much as I have done over the past 20 days. And Asha, a word of thanks to all those 100 participants who have steadfastly been with you in your life, as well as over the course of this past 1 hour.
Yes. Thank you very much. I have no words to say. I just can't express my gratitude any better. Thank you very much for being there, and please be with me on this journey, because you are my fuel. You spur me on, and the realization that whatever I write reaches out to you and it makes a difference to you is what makes me want to go on. There isn't much left. In this profession, if you call it writing doesn't put food on the table, which is what I keep always telling people, but then it connects you to people. It makes you understand, it makes you relate to the world and to life itself in better ways. It makes you a better human being. So please help me be a better human being with each piece of my writing. Please be with me on this journey. Thank you very much.
Can I do a gender reverse of the proverb? It says, behind every successful man is a woman. So behind every successful woman is a husband who looks at her dotingly. I want you to acknowledge all those people. I mean, I heard Mr. Patrick Michael from your mouth and many others who were there. So you can list out those people individually whom you want to thank for all that they have done across the years.
That would be unfair of me to just pick a few people. I don't know. I think a lot of people, I wouldn't be this, but for so many of them. Every single reader, even Mohan.
Yeah.
You know, I value every single reader of mine, every person who writes into me saying how a certain story or a writing has moved them, or they found something in it of value. I think even that, you know, to the last denominator, I value them, and they've all contributed to what I am today. And I, you know, last but not the least, I must definitely give all credit to my husband, who has stood by me, who has been with me, allowing me to do whatever I wanted to do in my life, giving me complete freedom to pursue my dreams, no matter how small, how big, standing by me all through the times of good and bad. Thank you very much, Vimal Kumar, for being there in my life.
And on that note, since you can't improve perfection, I wish to thank all those people who have joined us in this wonderful journey of Asha Iyer Kumar. And I hope that we all read this book, A Pain in the Womb, and give our feedback at the earliest for Asha to go on this never ending journey of writing. Thank you so much, Asha.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Bye. Bye. Have a good evening. Have a good evening.
Thank you.